they don't have people coming to their job saying these nasty things. So, yeah, we definitely have to protect the players better.
Look,
I've been digging into this for months, and what just went down during the WNBA All-Star Weekend isn't just about player drama or ratings. It's about money and a truth the league avoids. Caitlin Clark being ruled out didn't just disappoint fans. It exposed a fragile financial reality. The fallout? A massive drop in viewership, 1.2 million, and a major hit to revenue. But what's more concerning is how quickly efforts began to spin the narrative. Strip away the PR, and it's clear. The league's financial backbone is tied to one 23-year-old from Iowa, and that scares everyone. If you want the raw truth behind the WNBA's economic model and just how deep the Caitlin Clark effect goes, stick around. When she missed that game, ticket prices didn't dip. They crashed, revealing a reality the league hoped to keep hidden.
They don't have people coming to their job saying these nasty things. So, yeah, we definitely have to protect the players better.
Think about this. Ticket prices dropped 48% overnight, from $121 to $64, just because Caitlin Clark was out. In pro sports, that kind of price swing tied to one player is almost unheard of. This isn't a one-off either. Every time she's injured or sits out, the same pattern repeats. The market is speaking loud and clear. The WNBA's financial hopes are riding on one player. And while prices plummeted and secondary sales tanked, WNBA players were simultaneously protesting for higher pay, highlighting a stark gap between perception and economic reality.
Scored historic viewership. How is it historic when it's like half of last year? Last year was nearly 4 million. How is it historic when it's like half of last year?
KC, ESPN was comparing this year's All-Star Game to 2023. Why? Why in the hell would they do that? I'll tell you why ESPN did this. This is another example of the mainstream media protecting the WNBA. This is another example of ESPN polishing the turd with this dump of a league.
So let's get this straight. Players are asking for higher pay while viewership drops and market value crashes in real time. The irony is hard to miss. Caitlin Clark's absence came at the exact moment that exposed who's truly keeping the league afloat financially.
People coming to their job saying these nasty things. So, yeah, we definitely have to protect the players better.
Let me be clear. The data I'm sharing is based on verified ticket prices and viewership stats. But the deeper connections? That's from my own investigation. Official sources won't say it, but if you trace the digital trail, it's obvious who's really driving the league's economics. The 2025 All-Star Game had 2.2 million viewers. Sounds fine until you realize that's 1.2 million less than when Clark played in 2024. In TV terms, that's not a dip. That's a major financial blow.
LeBron James can be injured, Steph Curry could be injured, Kevin Durant could be in, and the prices still will not drop to be this low. $75? Folks, I'm sure there's some high school football teams down in Texas that charge you at least $75 to get to a home game. 3-point contest, ESPN, ABC, and Disney score the historic viewership for the 2025 WNBA All-Star events. Friday, July 18th, ESPN airs the most watched WNBA skills and 3-point contest ever, averaging 1.3 million viewers, which is up 89% versus last year's WNBA skills and 3-point contest, up 89%.
ESPN compared 2025 viewership to 2023, not 2024, to downplay the real story. But losing 36% of your audience isn't historic. It's a wake-up call. While ESPN shifted stats, the real-world impact was clear. Advertisers, sponsors, and team owners noticed the drop. Behind the scenes, industry voices suggest something bigger is unfolding. The WNBA's new media deal was built on the assumption of Caitlin Clark level engagement. So, what happens when she's not on the court? Meanwhile, players are demanding better pay and conditions. Fair asks, but they're doing it as data shows the league's value drops without Clark. Online, the divide is growing. Loyal WNBA fans support the players' demands, while Clark's fans are raising tough questions about who's actually fueling the league's rise.
If it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese,
And I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
I was with you until that.
I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
The new fans are sucking the life out of the WNBA.
The irony is hard to ignore. The league benefiting from Caitlin Clark's rise is also pushing away the very fans behind her popularity. And those fans are the ones driving revenue growth. After months of tracking this, one thing is clear: the current model isn't sustainable. You can't center your league's success around one player while downplaying her importance. The numbers are blunt. With Clark, the WNBA shows serious economic promise. Without her, it reverts to struggling for attention. The league wants her to fit into a broader, everyone's equal narrative, but the financial data says otherwise. She's not just a star, she's the cornerstone.
The WNBA players in their pregame warm-up came out in these t-shirts, "Pay us what you owe us." And then immediately pivoted to playing the worst all-star game in the history of professional all-star games. They took the court in t-shirts. "Pay us what you owe us. We're underpaid. This league has lost millions of dollars, but we're underpaid. Pay us what you owe us." And then they served up a doo-doo sandwich to sports.
Colin Cowherd said it best. Even with Caitlin Clark sidelined, the All-Star Game still hit the second highest ratings in WNBA history.
Why?
Because her influence lifts the entire league. Her absence brings more attention than the league used to get with its full roster. That's not normal market behavior. That's transformative impact. The contradiction is clear. The league thrives off her popularity while trying to downplay her importance, like claiming you don't need the sun while basking in its light. Now, let's separate fact from speculation. The ticket price drop? Verified. The 36% viewership loss? Confirmed. The protest shirts worn amid this financial dependency? A telling moment. Rumors suggest owners are uneasy about ongoing CBA negotiations given how visibly dependent the league is on one rookie. There's even talk that media deal projections may need adjusting if volatility continues. And here's where the power dynamics shift. When one player's absence crashes the market, who really holds leverage? Right now, the WNBA's growth story is tightly tied to Clark. Without her, the league risks sliding back to struggling for relevance. Protest shirts saying, "Pay us what you owe us," hit differently when tied to a 48% ticket crash. The real question becomes, what does the market owe when it shows this kind of reliance on one player? It all leads to an uncomfortable reality. If Clark gets injured, burns out, or walks away, the league faces serious risk. Players asking for better pay have valid points, but right now, the market's showing where the leverage really lies. This moment calls for strategy, not slogans.
This is historic. And they were like,
the media's role in all this is especially interesting. Outlets like ESPN are stuck between telling the truth and protecting relationships within the league. Their effort to spin the numbers wasn't just damage control, it was about preserving a narrative that keeps everyone comfortable. But ironically, by trying to downplay Caitlin Clark's impact, they made it even more obvious. Now, the 36% drop in viewership and 48% ticket price crash are front and center. The truth? Clark's arrival solved visibility and revenue issues, but exposed a new problem. The league's heavy reliance on her contradicts its message of collective growth and player equality. They want the benefits without fully acknowledging the source. But markets don't respond to narratives, they respond to performance. And right now, Clark isn't just helping the WNBA's economics, she is the economics. This raises a sustainability issue. Building a league around one player has worked before, like Jordan in the NBA, but that was a stable, established league. The WNBA doesn't have the same cushion. So when players push for bigger salaries during a time of such obvious dependency, a conflict emerges. Is the league growing because of all the players, or because of one? The data points to the latter, and that creates tension for everyone. To be clear, players absolutely deserve fair compensation. But fairness has to be based on market realities, and right now those realities revolve around one name: Caitlin Clark.
No surprise there. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game was the most watched program of the night across all of TV. The night, not the day. With 2.2 million average viewers, up 158% from the 2023 WNBA All-Star.
ESPN StatSpin tried to dodge the big question. How is losing 1.2 million viewers and dropping 36% in ratings a success? The answer, it's not. The market has clearly spoken about Caitlin Clark's impact, and that truth scares everyone negotiating around it. Once you admit one player's outsized influence, the league's balance and bargaining talks get complicated. Players want better pay and conditions. Fair enough. But owners ask why invest more when the product's market shrinks without Clark? This tension won't vanish, no matter how ratings are framed or protest shirts worn. The online chatter signals a growing need to rethink the WNBA's financial model. They have three paths: fully embrace Clark's impact, diversify their appeal to reduce reliance on her, or keep pretending her influence isn't crucial. The last option isn't sustainable. The market won't allow it. Every time Clark sits out, ratings and ticket prices tell the same story. Players deserve honest talks about market realities. Fans deserve transparency on economics, and Clark deserves credit for transforming women's basketball. Most importantly, the league needs a business model that won't collapse when one player is absent. Right now, they don't have that. Ignoring this won't help. The market will keep reminding everyone every time Clark isn't playing. This isn't a knock on other players or the league's potential, just a clear look at where things stand today. Honest assessment is the only way forward for sustainable growth. So, what do you think? Are these just growing pains for a rising league, or early signs of an unsustainable model? Share your thoughts below. If this breakdown helped you see behind the scenes, hit like and subscribe for more. The WNBA's financial future is unfolding live, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. Thanks for following this investigation with me.